Let's go for it.
Okay. So thanks for attending today's training on recording lectures with Laura Widenor, Global Campus Instructional Designer. Today's session, along with all of the other training sessions this week, will be recorded, and then you'll have the option to view them again, and they'll be posted on our training site. So due to the large number of participants that could be in this, we're going to ask that everyone mute their microphones, or if you're not muted, we'll mute you. And if you have questions, please utilize the chat feature to send your questions through to us, and Laura will organize those, and Laura will address those then at the end of the session. And, then if we have some time, we can unmute the microphones, and you have some specific questions where you need Laura to address that. We can do that at the end of the session. But I think Laura has a session at 10 again, so
I do.
we kind of need to keep on time here. So if you're brand new or remote to online teaching, we recommend that you visit and explore the resources on the K-State Keep Teaching website at ksu.edu/keep teaching. And the Preparing and Planning page under the Remote and Learning Resources tab has a checklist for the steps for you to get started. The homepage of the website also includes getting started checklists for both students and faculty. And I have already dropped links to the site there in the chat box. So, and if I can get a document uploaded, I'll go ahead and share a file with you that's got everything in a nice file where you can print it off or download it or whatever you want to do. So as we rapidly transition our classes using various remote teaching options, we wanted to encourage you to keep things as simple as possible. And this session is going to focus on practical steps that you can implement right away. So if you have additional questions after today's session, you can send them to gcid@kstate.edu. Laura and Trina, our instructional designers, are monitoring that and will answer those questions. And if you would like to, you can also contact the IT help desk, and I've dropped that phone number into the chat box as well as their email address. And I just encourage you to please check out and continue to check out the Keep Teaching training sessions page, because we're adding more as we get requests for additional information. This was an added session, so if you would continue to look at that page, you'll see some new updated sessions that are being added all the time. And with that, I'm going to throw it over to Laura so we can get started.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Janice. So I have closed my chat box so I don't get distracted, but I'll check in with Janice a couple of times during the presentation to see if we have questions. And then we will definitely have some time at the end to talk some things through. We realized in yesterday's media site training that maybe we were too technical there. Media site is an amazing tool, and it's definitely something that you should consider using, but we thought maybe we'd bring it back just a little bit to the basics of what you need to do to get a lecture recorded. So I'm going to talk today about some if my slide wants to advance, there we go. Best practices for doing an online lecture, some methods for recording a lecture, some tool options that you have, and then how to go about uploading your lectures to Canvas, okay? So, starting with some best practices. A lot of us are comfortable or used to being in a lecture hall and lecturing for 50 minutes or an hour and 20, something like that. And that doesn't work as well in an online format. Most students, most people don't have the attention span to sit through an hour-long video. We see the data shows that viewing drops off after 10 minutes. So 10 to 15 minute chunks is really what we recommend that you consider breaking your lecture into smaller pieces. Now, if you already have recordings that are that longer length, there are methods to kind of break that up within that longer length, and we'll talk about a few of those. But think about your content and how you could break it up into concepts or into smaller pieces along the way. Chunking a larger lecture into those concepts can really help students digest the information. Use different styles for the different types of communication that you're going to be doing within an online course. So lectures are more formal, certainly, but it is also okay to do sort of short video check-ins with your students using a variety of different methods. But think about how you can be concise and how you can be visual in those presentations. If you have material that really is just a lot of text, it's okay to create a page or a document within your Canvas course and have students read that content rather than doing a recorded lecture content. So think about what are the visual pieces that you need to communicate in your video. So as you can see here, my slides are very, very simple. If I had lots and lots of time, I'd be very, very visual. I'd be adding pictures. I'd be adding graphs. I'd be adding a lot more concepts. But we're time crunched. We're in a very unusual situation here. So we're not necessarily creating perfectly polished, amazing lecture content. We're just doing our best to get through this time period and provide the learning materials that we need to our students. Okay, so let's just talk about how to record. We want you to use a presentation tool that you are most comfortable with. It is okay to use PowerPoint, but just putting your PowerPoint slides up in a Canvas course isn't enough. Those PowerPoint slides are things that you talk through when you're in a classroom, and the students need that additional expertise that you're adding on each of those slide contents. So just putting up the PowerPoint slides doesn't give the student the whole picture. But if you are comfortable with PowerPoint and you've ever done PowerPoint with VoiceOver, that would be all right. There's just a little bit of a trick with that, in that a PowerPoint with VoiceOver loaded into a Canvas course doesn't play. It's kind of an annoying thing, and I'm going to go ahead and stop my presentation right here to show you how to convert a PowerPoint with VoiceOver into a video. All right, so we can go up here to File in PowerPoint. You're going to export, and then you have create a video. So anytime you've created a PowerPoint and you've recorded sound on each of those slides, you then go to File, Export, Create Video, and it will convert that with the sound and advance through each of the slides. So it does work. It is a good option. Back to this presentation, which does not have VoiceOver. So let me get started again here. Oops, started from the beginning. Okay. If you are using PowerPoint or whatever tool that you feel most comfortable creating your presentation, you then can just record your desktop, which is essentially what I'm doing here by recording my Zoom session, which is one of the tools that you can use. I am just recording my desktop and kind of talking through my PowerPoint as I go. It's a great option. You can use any different presentation tool in doing that, and you just advance as you go. If you hit a snag, like mine started over, just keep going. It's okay. You also can record using your phone, your iPad, those kinds of things. And there are quite a few different resources that have been put out there recently about using different tools to record. So I'll try and share a few of those links at the end as well. So here are a few tools that you have available. Zoom can be used with just you, and you can record those sessions just like we are now. It's as if there is no audience to watch it live, and you're just creating a recording. We have 2 trainings tomorrow at 2 and at 4 o'clock on using Zoom, more focused on using it as a live interaction tool. But I'm hoping that Shelley will also cover sort of some of the basics of recording. I will give you a warning that we are finding some issues with downloading those recordings right now because the entire world is using Zoom. And so you may have to plan for quite a bit of time to get that file downloaded and be able to upload it into your course. MediaSite is the tool that is supported by K-State, and there are a lot of help videos on our website, and we have another training on MediaSite at 11 a.m. It is an amazing tool. It allows you to record your desktop in various different ways and embed a video of yourself in that as you're going. Lots of editing capabilities, really a wonderful tool. But it is a little complex, and some faculty have felt a bit intimidated by that. So that's why we're talking about different options. One thing to consider though is that MediaSite is the best place to store and display your video content. MediaSite has the capability to sort of adjust its streaming based on the internet capability of the students. So if their internet quality is not as high, MediaSite will automatically adjust the streaming to match what that student is experiencing. And so they are still able to stream that content. Sometimes if you are uploading a large file, like a large PowerPoint file, a large video file, it can be challenging for students to stream that content. And then if you're asking them to download that content, their home system may not have a lot of memory capability to be able to store that content. So it's something to consider. And I encourage you to go to the MediaSite training or look on the MediaSite page about how to use that tool. There are a lot of other tools out there, and so if you're familiar with them and comfortable with them, we definitely are fully supportive of you using them. A tool called Camtasia, another one called Screencast-O-Matic. Both of those have free versions that have quite a bit of capability, the ability to kind of mark on your screen, highlight, circle, draw, talk through things as you are presenting. QuickTime is a good Mac tool, and really there are so many options out there. So please choose what you are most comfortable with, what you find easiest for your layout, for your format to consider. Now, uploading to Canvas. I'm going to actually walk you through a couple of things here. So don't worry too much about this, but I wanted to highlight the toolbar here that has several different symbols on it that are important to knowing how to upload content. There is some content you can upload directly into a module, some content you need to upload into a page, and some content you could upload as a file. So we're going to talk that through now. So I'm going to jump over to Canvas and we'll talk some of that through. Okay, so to start with, hopefully you've attended a couple of our trainings or you're familiar with using Canvas, but if I lose anyone at any point, let me know. And Janice, do we have any questions that I should maybe address already?
No
Okay.
question here.
Okay, so let's talk through Canvas just a little bit and how to upload your content. First off, many of you will have a My Media Site link on your left-hand navigation. If you do not, you want to go to Settings, and we'll let it open up, Navigation, and then find the My Media Site link down here and pull it up into the top portion of your navigation and then click Save. That then will make it appear on the left-hand side of your navigation. That is where all of your media site content, whether you recorded it in media site or uploaded it to media site, will reside. But please be aware, students do not have access to this link. They cannot see this link. They do not have a way to access this. We have to upload that content in a different way, okay? So this is where my media site, where only I can see my content. And I have presentations and I have channels, which would be a group of presentations. All right. And so you can have a lot of content right here. If I wanted to add a file I had created in another tool, I could click on Add Media here. I could record my desktop right now, upload an existing recording, or upload a file from my computer. All right. All of those would then make that file be included in all of my media site content. Okay. That isn't the only way to upload content though. If you have an MP4 file, you could upload it into your files here by clicking upload, then going out and searching for that MP4 file. I'm not sure if I have one right now. Let me take a look. I don't think I set one aside to pull up. So you can go and search for that MP4 and pull it into your course right here. Okay. The best way to consider displaying a video, though, in a media site, or excuse me, in a Canvas course, is to add it to a page. In the page, if you edit that page, you will see that toolbar that I had in my presentation. I'll walk you through each of the different choices. There is the Insert Edit Media. You can embed a code. So if you have a YouTube video, so I'm going to go out to YouTube real quick. And here's the orientation that Trina just completed yesterday. If I wanted to embed that code, I would go to Share and then Embed, and that will give me the code that I need. I just simply copy that and paste it right into here. And then my video is directly on that page. That makes it much easier for students to view that content. Now, technically, I can also simply copy the link that you see and paste that here. Oops. We want to link website URL. So that's that, what are those called? Chain link symbol. And then that's another way that a video could be embedded, or a YouTube video could be embedded. So I'm going to save so you see what that looks like in the two different ways. You can see how this is just a little bit cleaner, a little bit prettier, if you will, display of that video, but students can access that YouTube video either way. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and jump in and try a different way. All right. So here is more external tools. This is where you can also access YouTube, but mainly where we would want to focus on accessing MediaSite. This is how you can have students view your MediaSite presentations. So you would click on My MediaSite, choose a presentation or a collection of presentations if you have arranged that. And if you click a space here, there we go. It'll come up with multiple videos that you've already have in your media site. I'm going to add to my course, and I personally prefer player only. I think that that is, again, the cleanest way for students to see the content. Okay, that's then going to load a nice big video right there. I'm going to click Save. And again, you'll be able to see how that looks. All right. That's my media site video embedded on a page. So again, that is this V symbol, more external tools. Finally, there is also record upload media. You could technically, as you can see my tabletop right here, it's pointed the other direction. And I could start recording right here if I wanted to. But I can also click on Upload Video and select a video file, an MP4, that again I have somewhere on my computer. You can also just select an audio file like you're doing a podcast and upload that this way as well. The advantage of using Pages is that then you can include an explanation of what you're wanting students to do to interact with this. So maybe it's read chapter 2 and then review this video. So all of the instructions are right there. Before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and make sure you all know how to take a look at this in student view. I'm going to go here to home, student view. Oh, wait, that's not going to work because I didn't publish my page. Got to go back in here, view all pages. See, my video practice page is not published. Also, I've hidden pages. So if I go into the student view, they're not going to be able to see it. So give me a second. These are all the troubleshooting things that we all do as we work through these courses. All right, so I'm just going to add in that page that I just created into a module. Okay, it's now at the bottom of my module. So now I can go in to student view. Go into my modules. Go down to, oops, I had that one closed. Welcome to Teaching Online, and click on Video Practice. This is how it will appear, all these different versions of the video to a student. Now I want to talk to you about one more thing that actually is in that module as well. That modules can have direct links to video content. This right here is a video. You can see the link here. So sometimes they're websites, sometimes they're videos, but you can click on these as well, and they will take you to the video. Sometimes if this is for an external video, it won't play right in Canvas. And we highly recommend that if you are linking to a media site video, that you do that in Pages. Because of media site structure, they have to have that single sign-on connection for it to play correctly, and that really only works properly in a page. If they aren't signed in quite properly and you have that direct link, it will sometimes block them. But you can, on a YouTube video or an MP4, just link it directly within the module. And to do that, you would get out of student view. You would click Add and either find the file if it's an MP4 or the external URL if it's a YouTube video. Both of those would link a video directly in here. All right. Hopefully I didn't go over that too quickly. Does anyone have questions on uploading content into Canvas for those presentations?
There's no questions through the chat, Laura.
Okay, sounds good. We'll do a little bit more here. I'm not even going to necessarily jump back into my presentation. You can record in Canvas too. So I'm going to share with you a couple of ways that you can record in Canvas directly and send messages to students directly within Canvas. So announcements is a great way to communicate with your students. You can duplicate anything any sort of email that you might send them through the inbox, also in announcements, and you can do announcements in a video format. So if we're looking at this welcome announcement, and we're gonna edit it rather, you can also, you have the same toolbar, you can include any content right here. And so we could choose to record or upload media and record a video right within this content. Okay, that's one way. We're going to leave. Students and instructors can record video in discussions. So if we have, let's pick this one here. All right, so if I were to edit, again, upload different content right here, record right here, but then your students as well, if they hit reply, should have that same toolbar available to them. So they can also record and upload media, or if you want them to find a YouTube video, those kinds of things. So you can use video quite extensively right within Canvas. One other great place to use video in Canvas directly is in, and I don't think I have any assignments in this right here, but in SpeedGrader. Good, I can get there. Right here, you'll see the same symbols we saw on our menu, on our toolbar. And right here, we have the ability to record media. So you can do a short feedback to your students by video, by audio, or uploading a file. So if for some reason you don't feel you can do the corrections you want to do within the tool, then you could upload the assignment again, add a comment, and let them know that it's there. Hopefully that was clear for everyone.
Laura,
Yeah.
before you move on,
Uh-huh.
since you're in this particular area with assignments,
Uh-huh.
there is a question from Gary that is, can other Canvas items such as quizzes be inserted into pages? For example, a video followed by a quiz, followed by another video.
Awesome question. Absolutely. So let me talk you through that a little bit. So let's go back to our video practice page. You can essentially put everything onto a page. So if I had a video that I wanted them to watch, and then I wanted them to now complete this quiz. All right, I'm going to go over here to the right-hand side, and you see all of these different links here to the different aspects of Canvas itself. So I'm going to click on quizzes correctly, and it's going to pull up anything I already have in here. So I'm going to click. For some reason, my mouse doesn't want to work. Getting started quiz. Okay, and then I'm going to save. So now when they click on this, it will take them away from the page into that other assignment. So they now have left the page, so it does kind of take them out of that element, but it does connect all of the content directly together. Now, if you wanted to have it more progressive, next, that is the modules sort of process, you could have the page or the link to the video, then the quiz as the next link here, then the next video beyond that. There are many faculty who will organize their course only on pages. It is possible to do that. So it could be week 1, you have your video, and then you have a quiz, and then you have a video, and then you have an assignment, and then you have a discussion. If you've linked those all correctly on that page, you can do it that way. The one caution I have in pages is that if you see all of my pages here, they are arranged alphabetically. So make sure that you choose a naming convention, like using numbers, to organize your content so that it's in the order you want the students to consume. And of course, I would need to make pages visible to students. Right now it's hidden. So using either modules or pages and combining all of your content together is a great way to organize and present your information. All right, I think that's really all I had for the total presentation. I hope that that helped folks a little bit. I would be more than happy. I'm going to stop my share for the moment unless we need to go back to Canvas. But I would love to have you all ask questions. You can take yourself off mute and ask them directly, or just type them in. And Brandon, I forgot to add the 2 links you sent me this morning. Do you have those handy, and would you add those presentation links into the chat for everyone?
Yes, I can.
Awesome, thank you.
Laura, we do have a couple of questions that have come through.
Okay.
And I know you were talking about the difference between using pages and modules, and you might just recap that because someone had a question about that.
Okay, sounds good. I'm going to go back and share my screen again then and walk everybody through pages and modules just a little bit. All right, so this right here is organized in modules. You can see I'm on modules here. I have multiple modules throughout this example course with all kinds of pages and direct links to documents, all of that kind of thing, all within the module. I've got my syllabus, which is as an assignment. I have the online syllabus content, which is a discussion. These are all training materials that I work with faculty on. Okay, so these are all different things that I can pull together into a module. Basically, anything in Canvas can be pulled into a module. Your assignments, your discussions, your pages, your files, anything you've created, quizzes, any of those things can be pulled together into a module. So it could be that I name this module week 1. And I pull everything together into that module. Now, pages are sort of like fancy Word documents, if you will. They're handy to use in Canvas because if you've ever worked with Canvas, you know that if you need to edit a document or a PDF, you have to upload that brand new edited document, delete the one that you had before so that you don't have duplication. And then if you have to make another edit, you've got to do that over and over and over again. Whereas if you've built it directly into Canvas, I can edit it over and over and over again. Like I was here, I just clicked edit again. I'm going to go in, I'm going to choose that, I'm going to make it a header. And now it's larger and it's more prominent on the page. I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to add an assignment right in here. And then everything can be built together. But as I said, if you go only with pages, make sure you're not, or you've created a naming convention that organizes them in the way that you want students to access that content. Does that answer the question all right?
Yes, thank you.
Good.
Okay, Laura, then there's a couple other questions related to that.
Okay.
And the question is here, whoop, hold on, we're chat room is. Can you make elements of a page conditional in the same way as modules? And the other question is in terms of using one or the other to organize the course, would you recommend one over the other?
I would recommend modules over pages. Pages are a good element to use in modules, but modules you have more control over the progression through the material. I'm not sure what you mean by whether or not pages can be conditional. Once you've embedded everything on a page, it's available to the students unless you haven't published something along that way. So if I had not published the Getting Started quiz, then when a student went to click on it, it would say you do not have permission or you do not have access. So whoever had the question about conditional, if I'm not addressing that, please let me know.
I think you addressed it. I think in terms of conditional, she means if, then, next, etc. So, you know,
Okay,
I
so
don't know
that
whether
would
it means, you know, completing something in a progressive order.
that would simply be how you built the page. So you would just build it in sequence of what you want them to do. So you could come in here and see if I can get to my edit button. So I could come in here, see if I can get in here. I can put a 1 right here, right? Oh, I don't want to play the video. I'm going to actually do numbered. Okay, watch this video. Okay, and then that move that down, and then I'm gonna do number 2. Well, you have to play with it a little bit. Let's see, I'm gonna back that up. Okay, there that goes. I just spaced it a little bit badly. So I can watch that video, then I can do 2 here, complete this quiz, so on and so forth. And that's how you could help the students understand the progression through the material. But it's not so much the next button that you see in the modules format. So if you're in modules and you get started at the top of a module, you're always going to have this next button to lead students through your material. Modules is the only place that you're going to have that next button.
Okay, Laura, there's a couple other questions. There are a few coming in here.
Sure.
So do you suggest that they create an assignment in the assignment tab and then link it to the module?
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. Assignments have to be created in assignments, and then you link it into the tool. And I am seeing, Joel, that you were conditional, you were meaning that if they haven't done that first item, the second isn't available. That is something that could only be controlled through modules. That is something you need to definitely work within the modules format, and I don't want this to turn into a huge Canvas training as well, but there are settings within Canvas modules to require students to complete elements before they can move on.
And then there is a question about the bandwidth and capacity. Which tool is likely to be overloaded by increased use, and which tool is likely to be easier for the students to use, download, stream, etc.?
Gotcha. Okay, so MediaSite right now seems to be doing well. We are just now hitting a few snags with Zoom. In terms of downloading, clearly we can do the communication just fine. We're just having a few issues with downloading the videos. And again, we're not following best practices by doing these hour-long webinars, right? We really should be doing 10 to 15-minute little segments if we were going to put this content in an online course. So that 10 to 15-minute training or lecture might download much more quickly, but we are having a few snags with the download right now. Certainly, if you are comfortable with YouTube, you could put your videos out there as unlisted. It gives you a base captioning already by the auto captioning within YouTube, and students are very familiar with YouTube. They really are, so it's not a bad choice. Now that does mean that your learning materials are sort of out there and available. Unlisted means they can't be searched for, but they are still public files. So if that's something that's a concern for you, putting your content within MediaSite and within your Canvas course would be more protected. I hope that answers the question. Okay.
And there was a question about how to set up a discussion board, and I believe, Laura, that's your session at 10, is that correct?
Yeah, just hang on here because we will have to, the link is exactly the same, so we'll just be basically transferring over into discussion boards at 10. Any other questions on doing an online lecture?